What's up? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm sharing with you just some simple weeknight dinner recipes, but you could also use these for lunch or meal prep as well. They're all super inexpensive, so cheap and easy recipes that I feel like your whole family will love. When it comes to plant-based meals, I try to think of things that my husband really likes and things that I can recreate and make 100% plant-based. So I have 4 really fun recipes to share with you today. And if you make any of these recipes, I hope you tag me over on Instagram at Miranda Running on Plants and let me know what you think of them. So let's jump into recipe number 1. This recipe is a spicy mac and cheese, but you don't have to use a spicy nutritional yeast if you don't want to. I will link the one that I am using from Seed Ranch, the spicy queso, down below. But you're going to need some breadcrumbs, some cheese sauce, some nutritional yeast of your choice, a bag of frozen broccoli. You could use fresh broccoli if you'd like. Frozen broccoli is a way to make it a little bit quicker, and then you're going to need some pasta. For these recipes, you can use any kind of pasta you'd like, whole wheat, gluten-free, lentil pasta, whatever your choice is, but these are your basic 5 ingredients, and if you haven't guessed, you're going to boil some water, pop some pasta in it. When you have about 2 minutes of cooking time left with your pasta, you are going to throw in the broccoli and let that cook with it, and then you're going to drain it, add the cheese sauce, add the nutritional yeast. If you want to make it a little creamier, you could add some vegan butter, or you could add some plant-based milk. I opted to not add either of those, but if you're making this for your family and you want it to taste more like macaroni and cheese, it's definitely an added creamy benefit to this pasta. The cheese sauce that I'm adding here is actually one that I make ahead of time, and then I freeze it in those little glass jars that you saw in the beginning. I will leave the recipe down in the description box below for this. You could substitute for any kind of plant-based or vegan cheese that you personally like. I really like this one because it's whole food plant-based, it is low fat, and it is so tasty. It is made out of Yukon potatoes and carrots, and you boil them together and then you put them in your food processor or high-speed blender. And like I said, you can use any nutritional yeast that you personally like. We really like this one from Seed Ranch. It's very spicy, it tastes like nacho cheese, and it adds so much flavor to this dish. My husband's a huge spicy food lover, and this dish is just so flavorful. So I did go ahead and bake this macaroni and cheese. You don't have to do this step unless you want to, but I think adding some breadcrumbs to the top and baking it gives it more of a comfy, homey feeling. I pop it in the oven at 450 degrees for about 10 to 15 minutes, and the breadcrumbs get nice and crunchy, and then I let it cool for a little bit before I serve it, and this is just absolutely delicious. It cooks up really fast. The whole meal itself takes about 25 minutes, which is perfect for a weeknight dinner. This next recipe is just 3 ingredients plus a little bit of water. I'm using Better Than bouillon, some frozen broccoli again. This is just my favorite because it's really convenient, and that way if I don't use it, it can just sit in the freezer, and some potatoes. Plus, with frozen broccoli or frozen vegetables in general, you're getting them picked at like peak season, and then it's frozen and everything in the bag is completely usable. Someone told me that here on YouTube, and it was mind-blowing to me. A lot of times when you buy broccoli in the store and you buy it by the pound when it's fresh, you kind of don't use all of it. You just use the florets usually. So I do pop my potatoes into my Instant Pot because I'm going to make mashed potatoes. If you don't have an Instant Pot, you can definitely boil them, but for weeknight dinners it does speed it up a little bit. Into a saucepan on my stove, I put some water and Better Than bouillon. I will leave the recipe for this gravy down below, and I'm going to show it 2 different ways in this recipe video, so that way you can have a couple different ways to use it. So this right here is just some water and flour to thicken and make a gravy, because if you guys haven't made gravy before, it's usually just like a broth and flour and water. I have been craving gravy for some reason, not really sure why. I didn't even know I liked gravy, but I've been making it on and off for the past couple weeks, and I wanted to share with you a really quick recipe that just takes Better Than bouillon in case you don't have any homemade veggie broth or store-bought veggie broth that you can use for your gravy. But anyways, you're just going to continue to whisk and keep this simmering, and then what I like to do is once it's kind of at the thickness that I want it, I put a lid on it and take it off the heat and kind of let it sit, and it thickens a little bit more. As you can see, it's starting to bubble up, which it tastes so good. I could probably just eat this with noodles as like a soup. It's probably not good for you since it's so salty, but I really enjoy it. As you can see, it's a nice creamy gravy. So for my mashed potatoes, once they are done in the Instant Pot, I just go ahead and pop them into a large bowl, and then I use my hand mixer, but they're soft enough you could mash them if you wanted to with a spoon or a potato masher. I don't drain the water that is in my Instant Pot because that's actually what I add to my potatoes to make sure they're nice and creamy. That starchy water, when it's really hot, it makes the perfect mashed potatoes. You don't have to add plant-based butter or plant-based milk. I just do a little bit of water, and because we had a really salty gravy, I didn't add any salt or seasonings to these mashed potatoes. If you don't like the skins on, you could always remove them. I like the skins with mashed potatoes, and mashed potatoes are actually one of my husband's favorite foods in the entire world, so he never complains when he has a really large bowl to come home to at night. And then I just served it with a side of the gravy and broccoli. I thought I would share with you another recipe for the gravy. You're going to need some better than bouillon, about a half or a whole onion, just depending on how much you want to add, and about 8 to 16 ounces of mushrooms. Again, it just depends on how many you want to add, and then some pasta, and you can use any kind of pasta you like. I think this is my favorite kind of pasta in the entire world. I love the texture of this spiral. It is so delicious. So you're going to bring your water to a boil for your pasta, and then another saucepan you're going to make the gravy. But this time the gravy is going to be made a little bit different. You're going to add some water to the pan and your chopped onion. Now I personally don't cook with oil. You could cook this with oil if you wanted to, but I'm going to add the better than bouillon in with the onion so that way it cooks together. And then I'm just going to add the same flour and water mixture to give it a nice gravy. So this is going to be more like a mushroom stroganoff, and it was so delicious. Once the gravy is to the texture that I want it, I go ahead and add the mushrooms and put the lid on, and then let the steam cook the mushrooms. As you can see here, it's just like a really thick gravy at this point. Make sure you keep mixing it and keep it at a low heat, that way it won't burn. But this gravy is so delicious. I could eat it probably every single day until I tire of it. But with the mushrooms, I think it adds so much flavor. It's nice and it's salty, and then you just pour it over your cooked noodles. This also makes a really big batch, just like the macaroni did in the first recipe. I would say it serves 4 to 6 people. I know traditional pasta, it says 8 servings, but I'm not someone who ever eats 1 serving of pasta. Let me know in the comments below if you are that person. That's totally fine. I'm just actually curious if anybody eats 1 2-ounce serving, or if you eat a little bit more or even a little bit less. Once my pasta is cooked and drained, I went ahead and added the gravy to this. You could also just serve up the pasta and put the gravy on the side if you wanted to. I like mixing it all together, but it's personal preference. A little bit of parsley or dill would also be really good with this. I thought I personally had both of those seasonings on hand, and when I went to make this, I didn't, but definitely would add a lot of flavor. And with mushrooms, I really like dill. Let me know if you like dill or if you like parsley. The last recipe I have for you is a mock Chipotle bowl. Now you could do this in a bowl or you could do it in a tortilla. It's completely up to you. I did a bowl, my husband did a tortilla. So I'm adding some spring mix to just a nice large salad bowl, and I decided to make my rice in the Instant Pot. You can make it over the stovetop. It's completely up to you. I take a can of corn and a can of kidney beans, rinse them well, and then once my rice is cooked, I'm going to take the lid off, add my beans and my corn, and then a half a jar of salsa and stir it up well. I really like this mango habanero salsa. It's very good. It's spicy, it's sweet. You could add a whole jar if you wanted to, but I find that half the jar is like perfect for about 2 cups of rice. Then you're gonna add your beans and your corn and mix it all up. You could also add cilantro to this if you wanted to, or switch the type of beans, or even add some sauteed veggies like they do at Chipotle. I think I don't like cilantro. I know that's weird, but I know some people think it tastes like soap, and then some people it tastes really good. I'm one of those people that I think it tastes like soap. Sorry. But then you're just going to take your bowl of lettuce and you're going to put however much rice you want on top of it. I made 2 cups of rice, so it turned into 4 cups cooked. And then to the top of that, you could add some hot sauce or more salsa, but I decided to add hummus because we had got this at the store on sale for 99 cents. My husband decided to do avocado. I can't do a lot of avocado or guacamole. It kind of hurts my stomach a little bit, but I felt like the hummus was a nice little feature. And at our house, guac is not extra. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you really enjoyed it, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!